What's going on, Wrestling Universe? Alfred, we back, baby. We back for another week of No Holds Barred, the number one wrestling podcast in the world. I'm talking about right here on the FinTalk Sports Network. And Alfred, you and I are now joined by two new people who have never been on the show before. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to have Mr. Michael Vogel. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, man. Michael Vogel at FinFan72. Been a lifelong wrestling fan, probably longer than I've been a football fan back in the day, man. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And then, Alfred, we're also honored by an actual combat sports editor, Mr. Dan Yanofsky. Sir, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, folks. I'm Dan Yanofsky. You can follow me at Dan, Yanofsky on Twitter. I work for The Sporting News, and the champ is here.
Oh, look at that. He brings out the belt.
No, you can't. Hey,
he brings out the belt.
This is your first show, but that's my phrase. I'm sorry. This is my phrase.
Just letting you know, Dan, Alfred is Alfred Hollywood Matthews, and I'm Alex Make That Money Brown on this show. So we got a great show for you guys tonight. We are talking about this weekend's pay-per-view called Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Why is it in Saudi Arabia? I don't care if it's in Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia sucks as a pay-per-view host place. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, the first thing that I want to talk about so Dan, and then Vogel, I'll ask you next. We ask all our new guests this one question is, who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
My favorite wrestler, well, I'll say who got me into wrestling would probably be The Undertaker. But if you were to ask me, I think that someone in the pro wrestling scene would look at past footage of pro wrestling and you see various individuals from over the years, even if I wasn't involved during that time. Right. I would probably say Stone Cold is one of my favorites, but I do have a Sting figure right here. So you gotta go with the classic a little bit too.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, Vogel, who's your favorite wrestler?
I take it way back, and there's only one for me, and that's the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, absolutely. Icon. Absolute icon.
Huge NWA fan back in the day.
All right. Hell yeah.
Even more so than, I followed it all. I mean, you watch one show, you got to watch them all. But for me, it's just like when it was the original NWA with Dusty and Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA and those dudes, that was my jam back in the day.
So last week's episode we did about the passing of Billy Graham.
Yeah.
So you grew up during his era.
Yeah. He was kind of getting out right as I started getting into it. But yeah, he was kind of the first Hulk Hogan, I guess if you will. He was one that kind of had the body and the talk and all that stuff. So. He was kind of there. But for me, it's just like watching NWA and then becoming WCW. It just felt like that was a real show.
Right.
And WWF at the time felt more cartoonish.
Got you.
But still, man, I watched all the first couple WrestleManias with Piper and, and those guys. Those were the guys that I followed back in the day.
So, Dan, being a combat sports writer, is it different for you to do you write articles before the shows or after the shows? Is it different for you? I'm guessing you're a fan as well, but is it different for you to analyze that, being that you're writing about it and a fan at the same time?
Well, it is a little bit different of being a fan and someone who covers it. You have to be a little, I think the term is smarkish, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that you can try, if you're not working the event, you can easily relax a little bit, just watch it as it goes along. I was at an AEW event a couple of weeks ago in Florida where you just sit back and relax. Like you're enjoying the show, you're tweeting about it too, but I was surprised when Roderick Strong came. That's a great moment in wrestling where you're like, oh, you can just peel back the onion a little bit on yourself. Right. And, you can do both. It's hard, but you can do both, especially with combat sport, the other combat sports in MMA and boxing. Sometimes you appreciate the athleticism, but you also have to critique it in a sense as well. So it's a mix of both.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, guys. So the first topic I want to talk about is about LA Knight. Okay, so LA Knight, in my opinion, has been misused, and I've said it many times on this show. And there's an echo. That's why it wants me to reiterate it. So LA Knight has been misused many times on this show. Alfred, there's a supposed rumor that he's going to fight this weekend against Rick Boogs, but what do you think needs to happen with LA Knight in order to give him a little more of a push?
Well, first off, if they actually have this match on Sunday, basically you're gonna have him squash Rick Boogs first to have him like a sort of like not say credibility, but have like some sort of like start to a push and everything. And I agree. He has been misused so far. I remember reading an article recently from Disco Inferno, and basically he's basically saying the same thing I've been saying. That they're kind of misusing him. And then Disco Inferno made a good point. Like, when was the last time, as far as I can remember, when was the last time he even had a promo in front of people? Like, it's been what, like almost a month now, or even more than that. And
was it back in the Bray days?
That's the main thing that's probably getting him over. That would get him over is having like a promo, and it's like they're not even doing that and everything. So. No. Like I said, if he having a match against Rick Boogs, were to happen, I'll have him easily win that match, and then I'll even go further and have him like win Money at the Bank coming up. That's what I would probably.
Vogel, what are your thoughts?
I was just gonna have they even announced that? Like, I feel like
I saw.
Not just a rumor.
They haven't announced it yet, but what I do during my like spare time at work is I go on like Wrestling Observer and a bunch of different websites, and that's the one that first popped up was WWE has plans for a LA Knight push, but they need him to fight. You know, the first step is to get him on the card this weekend.
Right.
More than likely, he's probably going to open up the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
If they were going to have that, or they'll throw him in the middle somewhere.
I know they're both there. I just saw something on Twitter that had kind of some of the superstars were out and about in Saudi, just taking in the things, and they were both there. I like some kind of carnival or whatever with some of the other people. So yeah, I definitely feel like I felt like when he was in that stuff with Bray Wyatt, I felt like that they were in the right direction. Like, I felt that was really building them up. And then, like you said, then it just like fizzled out for whatever reason. I think he can be a main eventer. I definitely feel, he's got the crowds behind him every time he comes out and everything too. Whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, like, they buy into what he's putting down. So,
right,
absolutely, yeah. Spare time at work, So, Dan, have you ever had to write a piece about LA Knight and like what kind of superstar? Who do you think would be a good feud for LA Knight if he were to have another feud?
I haven't really written much about LA, especially even when he was in Impact Wrestling, which I thought he was fantastic in. Future star in the making right there. He's going to probably be doing a feud with Boogs for a while if he's on the card this Saturday, which would also indicate that maybe if they do a Money in the Bank qualifying match, he would face Boogs for the shot in the Money in the Bank. Now, if they did the King and Queen of the Ring like they were planning on doing it before this Night of Champions event, then I could see Knight being the one to win that. But since that event's no longer happening, maybe they can give him the Money in the Bank contract. But outside of that, you'd think they want to feud him with someone like Austin Theory, who U.S. title situation. You want to give him maybe like the lower tier belt, not the lower tier belt. Oh wait, he's on. Yeah. So you do like the lower tier belt in a sense like that. That's a good workhorse situation for him. Work his way back up the card from the Bray Wyatt feud. Yeah. Because, patience is a virtue and all that. And then people sometimes think that he has to earn his shot, earn his way to the top in WWE, which he already has. His charisma is out of this world. His promo work is fantastic. His in-ring skills I'm indifferent about it here and there, but he definitely knows what he's doing in front of a camera and knows how to work with the crowd. So I think that if you don't do theory, you just go straight for a Boogs feud that involves itself in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let Knight feud with Rollins. Think of the promos. That would be Knight's on SmackDown, Rollins on Raw, so that can't happen. But that would be fire promos.
That would be if it was on the same show. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I think you're right in the fact that they do have to. I would put like United States title on him first, and then let him go after the big one. There might be a little prediction later on that might shock everyone here. I don't know yet. We'll see. I've got a little bit of a spoiler for what may happen. But no, I mean, LA Knight is by far what I think absolutely misunderused, and this needs to change. Triple H, I know you're watching this show right now because why wouldn't you be? Because we're the best show.
It's the number one rated show.
It's the number one show
in the world.
Exactly. That's why I say it at the beginning. I don't.
Sources say Uncle Paul's listening.
There we go.
Right.
Uncle Paul is listening.
There you go.
All right, guys. So y'all had heard me talk shit about Saudi Arabia. Okay. Now we have had this discussion many, many times about how I personally, and I'm not the only one that thinks that the pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia are a load of horse shit. Okay. Somebody prove me wrong. Does anybody have an opinion on why it's actually a good thing to have the pay-per-views over there?
The only thing that I can say is the money. I think they get paid a load of money to be over there in Saudi Arabia. That's the only reason I can see.
Because aren't they on like a 10-year partnership with them or something like that?
Are they really?
Yeah. So it has to be the number.
Where they have to go over and do at least one show a year.
Yeah, for 10 years.
It's something crazy, but yeah, you go from Puerto Rico, which in my opinion was one of the.
Yes.
I mean, like card wise, it may not have been the best. I mean, but crowd wise,
was hyped.
Was hot. That crowd was on. It was so good. Like I miss watching pay-per-views where the crowd's that into it.
Oh my God!
And then you go to Saudi Arabia where, the crowd is so big that you're not going to be able to get the acoustics and stuff as much.
And don't y'all notice also when the women wrestle in Saudi Arabia, the crowd's kind of like silent.
Yeah,
I know it's a cultural thing and stuff, but I mean, there's a little bit of sound, but it's all about the money and maybe Sami Zayn. But I don't know. Like I'm just not a fan. Like Dan, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's a slippery slope, just because nobody's really happy due to the political aspect of it, due to the controversy from a few years ago that we won't quite get into. But if the talent are safe / nobody's stuck on a plane,
right.
Then everybody. If it's not necessarily needed, but also it's good for cultural purposes for pro wrestling to be involved in a situation where entertainment is entertainment. And yes, there's a lot of money involved. And yes, there's a lot of controversy involved. And yes, I actually think the women's matches, there are some women matches I've seen that are actually pretty good and get like good ovations on the card and the show as well. Now, there's a lot more women's matches based off what I've seen, if I'm not mistaken, on this show than there would be Double or Nothing. But I think that, especially with Zayn's involvement this year because of peace and whatnot, I think that there's something to say about it. I'm indifferent about it, like I said, but they're going to be there for doing a 10-year there. They're going to probably renew depending on how Endeavor sees all this, which, if you follow the money, it might be there, or if they might want to change it up, it might not happen anymore. It's something to credit WWE for actually doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You can take away the credit too, obviously, but slippery slope in a certain degree just because of all the plays that are there with politics, with money, with corporations, with rights and wrestlers' rights as well. So it's an entertaining event normally.
Mm-hmm.
It did give us Titus O'Neil almost falling into the ring in the Greatest Royal
Right.
Rumble.
Yeah.
Lest we forget. If that's the only highlight, give
Good for
the
them,
people what they want, I guess.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you on that aspect and everything. I'm just wondering why, I guess, so other promotions like AEW, I haven't really seen Impact or TNA go to like other countries, but I mean, I don't watch them that much. I could be wrong. I know AEW has gone to London, I believe,
for a Sunday show.
Yeah,
they're about to.
They're about to go. Yeah, they're about to go.
Yeah.
So
the
wrestling world is trying to go international, and Alfred, how do you think this plays out with, if the wrestling wrestling industry start going international, what kind of result do you think may happen with that?
As far as like money wise, yeah,
Money wise, it's
fucking
like
I would say positive
game.
results. Like I said it from the beginning. I actually love it when they go like international and they don't just stay in the States. They should have done this like a long time ago, because I know growing up, I remember excluding obviously Toronto, I don't really consider that like international from the US, but like when WWE went to London for the first time in '93 for the SummerSlam pay-per-view.
SummerSlam,
that was like the first time they ever did that and everything. And then I was like, oh, obviously I wasn't watching back then, but I was like, growing up, I was like, hey, it would be pretty cool to when I get older to like go on a trip like international to see wrestling international, see how the fans there interact and everything. So I think it's a pretty good idea, and I think it'll get more people in the States, like fans, diehard fans in the States, to actually make those trips, and it makes WWE like a genius doing that, because like I said, with WrestleMania, when it's here every year, people from international come all the way to the US for WrestleMania. So it'll be pretty cool, like for vice versa, for the fans in the US to go international and things like that. So like as a marketing and money wise situation, it's like a great thing. I don't see any downside of them not having international events.
Do y'all think they would ever hold a WrestleMania internationally?
I was going to ask you that same question. I think
if they did, I could see it like Canada. I could see Canada being the host. I can't see them going like somewhere where the time difference is huge.
Well, WrestleMania been in Canada plenty of times though.
Okay,
well, not plenty, but like twice. Like
I would say London.
London?
Yeah, London.
I mean, that's the only destination you can really do. And what I've seen is international crowds are so much better than here. I've seen a lot of MMA events, a lot of boxing events, a lot of pro wrestling events that happen outside of the United States, and the passion is just incredible. Not trying to bash us or anybody really, but it's kind of obvious, as you saw.
You go ahead, bash. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's pretty obvious. So I think that WWE can do it. Like AEW is doing a pay-per-view. AEW is doing a pay-per-view in London or England in general. GCW does a lot of events overseas. NWA, I believe, used to do it years and years ago. Impact went to London a long time ago. So I think that WWE should do it. They probably won't be like the first, but they'll be like the main form of competition to do so in pro wrestling. So I would say that London would probably be the ideal destination for them, unless they can get something else. I know the time difference might be a little off, but there's nothing bad about an afternoon fight card, or if they want to make it further into the night, that could be a little tricky, but never anything wrong with an afternoon fight card. It's great to wake up, enjoy your night, and then be over with it by, say, 9 o'clock. Why not?
Right.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
Right.
So with talking about, before we get into the breakdown of all the matches, Vogel, I'll start with you. Is what are your expectations? Like I'm gonna ask everybody this, is what are y'all's expectations for this pay-per-view for this weekend?
Well, normally I don't watch the Saudi Arabia shows. They're like the matches and the matches in the past have not, like, they're wanting certain superstars and that are way past their prime, Like I just
Goldberg.
Yeah, it doesn't interest me. The thing about tomorrow is there's a few matches that I'm interested in, specifically the tag match, because with the whole bloodline storyline, it's the one storyline that they've done right from start until now. Like it feels like it can go several different ways. At tomorrow, however you can look at it, there's different arguments for different things, but that's one of them that I'm definitely interested in seeing. And then also, like you guys were saying about LA Knight, like, are they actually going to pull the trigger and have them wrestle? I mean, that would, that some of these matches that they put on, people want to know about it ahead of time, or they're not going to watch.
Absolutely. No. And Josh Kimmel last week made point, and he said that he does not watch matches that don't have a storyline.
Right.
And I agree. I 100% agree. And when I was watching Raw this past week, I don't know who was fighting, but it was like the first time they were fighting, and I go, why am I watching this? There's no backstory. It's just it was Alpha Academy and Viking Raiders. When I literally turned it off because I'm like, what's the storyline here? It's just two tag teams. It's a match filler.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Dan, do you believe every fight needs to have a story, a backstory?
Yes and no. I think that if you're having a pay-per-view match, there should be at least a story. Televised matches, not all the time. Like, it can lead to something in the future. But I would like a good story. I love matches that are amazing. I love those type of performances. I like a little story within my matches. Maybe not prior to the match, but if you're doing within it, nothing better than a beautiful storytelling in a match. Like the G1 in New Japan, there's no real story with all these feuds. They're matches that have feuds from years back, but if you revisit that, put that in your match instead of just months or even weeks of preparing for it, it's not the worst situation to be in. I've seen worse, like, things happen where you have matches that make no sense, or you have storylines that are just pretty awful, and that gets more of attention. If you remember anything Katie Vick, you really want to watch Kane Triple H based off of Katie Vick, or do you just want to see two of the biggest guys who can dominate wrestle? It's yes, you want it, no, you want it, happy middle.
The thing that I wanted to point out about what you said about the G1, the G1 does tournament wrestling the best. Like, it's consistent every year, and it's tournament wrestling where, when WWE just had their, hey, we're going to have a tournament for, the belt that they're going to be fighting for tomorrow night. Like, that wasn't a tournament. Like, I want, if you're going to have a match, and we'll probably talk about this later, but, introducing a new belt, give me a whole pay-per-view. Like, there was one, I can't remember, I know my buddy's watching, he's commented a couple times, the one where it was at Trump Tower, and it was like a tournament the whole night to crown the champion. I think Macho Man ended up winning or whatever.
WrestleMania 4.
WrestleMania 4. Give me something like that where we're going to crown the champion that way, instead of just picking guys on Raw and SmackDown. If it's going to be a Raw belt, then have what better way to make new stars than to have a tournament and they're actually spotlighting these guys,
Yeah.
The one issue I have is attention span of fans. We've noticed in the past couple of years, especially in the U.S.
I was going to say that as well.
Now, if you can hold their attention, then great. Unfortunately, it can work, but not every single time. And so, if you can try to do it, great. If you've seen the same old stuff every time, though, you're going to get a little. It also depends on where you are too. There are a lot of crowds that aren't really the best, but attention to detail is key. So you want to change it up a little bit, but not too much. And that's where I think that WWE or any pro wrestling company needs to work on, where they can hold the fans' attention for 2-3 hours, maybe even 4 if you do another pay-per-view like King of the Ring, like what that was years back, and just try to maintain that attention, but also not be too obvious with your results.
True. Very true.
All right, that's true.
So before I hear Alfred's expectations, Dan, do you have any expectations for this weekend?
For right now, I'm giving it a B minus B grade for right now because the matches are much better than previous cards in Saudi Arabia. Some are repeats, some first-time matchups, some you have no expectations really for, like Cody and Brock Lesnar. I'll get to that later. But
yeah, I got some opinions on that.
I think that the good outweighs the bad in the situation where if you just enjoy yourself, have a good time, I think it can be still a B. And if we're lucky, gets to a B plus overall pay-per-view grade.
Okay.
If anything, if they're lucky, A minus.
Gotcha.
If I'm looking at grades correctly.
Alfred, what's your expectations?
I think looking at the card, I give it right now. I give it a solid 7 out of 10 at the moment. I'm not really too high on the card. Obviously, I want to see who wins the tag team title match. I want to see that, and obviously the World Heavyweight Championship match. But as far as the other matches, I guess Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus should be put on a good show. Gunter and Mustafa Ali, I have no interest whatsoever.
To me,
hold on. We're good. That's the first match we're going to talk about. The first match we're going to talk about. We'll get to that. I'll let you start off talking about Becky Lynch. All right, so here we go. Before we start talking about matches, don't forget to subscribe to FinTalk Sports Network on YouTube. You can see our show every Thursday night, 9/8 Central. Amazing other shows. Vogel, I think you've got a show. When's your show?
Well, we're kind of in a hiatus right now until
they're in a hiatus.
We're both free until through next week. I'm probably gonna go on Thursday night at some point.
Cool.
Before this show.
All right. Hey, perfect. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's start breaking down the matches with match number 1 that I have highlighted, which is going to be Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. So, Mr. Michael Vogel, take it away. What are your thoughts?
I mean, again, I don't feel it feels rushed, and I really haven't liked any of the promo work. That I don't know. I felt like Trish was more natural when it was her time to shine. And I just haven't, it just hasn't grabbed me the way that I was hoping it would. Because I think they're going to put on a great match. It just doesn't, it just felt thrown together. But it is a match that I'm interested in because they're two very athletic women that can put on a good show. So I'm intrigued to see how that match ends.
So basically how this works is we talk about the match, and then once you talk about it, you say your prediction. So who you got, Becky or Trish?
I mean, most people would say Becky Lynch, wouldn't they?
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Alfred, break it down.
Okay. Like I said a few minutes ago, I think this match has the ability to steal the show. My prediction, I got Becky Lynch winning. I don't think it does Trish any good to win the match. I must say, Becky Lynch owned the mess out of Trish Stratus on that promo on Monday with the dog comment and everything.
Yeah,
that kind of had my jaw drop on that one and everything. That was like, oh wow. I was like, oh, she definitely can match up with Trish when it comes to talking. So, my prediction, I got Becky Lynch winning. Really nothing more to be said about that. I don't see how Trish should win this match. It doesn't do anything for her more than it does for Becky Lynch. So,
yeah, Vogel, you were saying something?
No, I was agreeing with what you were saying.
All right, Dan, go ahead.
Wrestling's past versus wrestling's present. Trish Stratus is best when she's a heel. Becky Lynch, I think, is best when she's a face. If you want to prolong the feud, if you're talking about it being rushed, not wrong there, but if you want to prolong the feud, you have Trish Stratus win via roll-up or cheating or any of that nature. And I think that's what's going to happen in this match. That is going to be hard fought. Trish is going to be chicken a little bit behind the ring, and I think that Becky's going to get frustrated by her. And it's not going to be a DQ. It's just going to probably be a little bit of cheating. who knows, maybe a distraction somehow, some way. And I think that Trish is going to walk off with a win, and we prolong the feud until we have time until SummerSlam. Let's go SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is I'm picking Trish Stratus to win. I was talking with this about a buddy last night, that the fact that if you have Becky Lynch win, it's like, oh, okay, so Trish has been talking all this mess, and then she beat her. Okay, they're done.
Yeah.
However, if you have Trish win, Becky's like, no, I want payback. I need to prove to this woman that I'm the newest top female in this wrestling industry, in this company. We're going to fight again at SummerSlam, and then Becky wins at SummerSlam. So I think they're setting it up for Becky Trish Part 2 at SummerSlam in Detroit. All right.
The first disagreement of the night.
That's what we were supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah, I was to say, yeah.
We have to have disagreement. All right. Now, this next match is Gunther versus Mustafa Ali for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm going to let Dan go first on this one.
I love Ali. I think he's a great talent. I think he deserves more camera time and more mic work. Just don't bury him like Lesnar did. However, Gunther is, I'm going to call him Walter. Sorry. But Gunther is one of the best talent WWE has. And if they're really pushing him to be the next level superstar, the next big thing in WWE, as everyone says that he is going to be, and if you're trying to for next year's WrestleMania, you're going to have to make him win. I think it's going to be an obvious performance. I think that Ali's going to give it a little bit more effort than people expected him to put on, but Gunther is going to take home the win, and it's going to be a brutal affair, but if you don't, it's a very interesting decision on WWE's part that I don't think they would risk doing, considering the following that Gunther has.
Yeah. Alfred?
I think we all know how this about to go. I'll be shocked if either one of y'all, the remaining two of you all pick Mustafa Ali. I think Gunther is going to easily win this match. I personally feel like Mustafa Ali shouldn't even been in the match against Gunther when he won the Battle Royal. Thought somebody else should have won. The only question I have now is after Gunther wins, where he goes from here. Maybe a feud with Nakamura, like since they're on the same show, but obviously it's not the time for Gunther to lose the title because WWE is very high on him. So that's why I got winning. So his reign is going to continue at Night of Champions.
Whoa.
I mean, I do want to pick Ali just because of Saudi Arabia and the place will go crazy. But I mean, you know, he's just been so dominant, and I would be shocked if they had him go over Gunther right now. Like, because again, I would rather the match that I would rather see would be him and is it Bronson Reed? Is that the guy's the big fella? I would have like that to me would have been just because there's a little bit of history there from NXT and stuff. But I don't see Ali winning as much as I would like to say. For the fans in Saudi Arabia, they're gonna pull the plug.
So a little birdie called the Wrestling Observer Inc. said, do not be shocked if there is a WWE title change on Saturday night. And the match they highlighted was this one. Yep. Was Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. Now, I'm not picking that to happen. I'm still picking Gunther to win. However, if Mustafa Ali does win the belt, what that tells me is that they're shifting Gunther now towards the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
And a feud with whoever wins. So I think because Gunther is going to be either World Heavyweight Champion or WWE Undisputed Champion. He's going to hold one of those belts.
So if the title, in my opinion, if the title does change hands, it's simply to shift Gunther to the world title, and I don't see Ali holding the IC.
So, and you mentioned Bronson Reed. I like I think if Mustafa Ali wins, I think Bronson Reed takes it off him like that.
Yeah.
So Mustafa Ali is not going to have a title run.
That's what I was going to say next. I was like, I mean, what's the point of having Mustafa Ali beat him when he's basically would drop the title next to somebody else, the Intercontinental title.
Exactly.
Because
That's why I
it's
feel
in
like
Saudi Arabia.
Because it's in Saudi Arabia. That's the only reason.
And in my opinion,
true, yeah.
they missed an opportunity in Puerto Rico with Zelina. I think they should have had her beat
Rhea?
What's her name? Yeah.
It would have been too soon.
Oh,
too soon.
No. Just hear me out though. Just for the fans.
Okay, I got you.
And then Rhea beats her, the next night on Raw or whatever to win it back. Like it's just if it happens, it's for the fans of Saudi Arabia, not necessarily a long-term thing. That's my opinion on it.
Okay. I mean,
like I said, I'll be completely.
Do not. I'm just saying. All right. So
you're going by
go back
Dave's
to it
word
next week, but yeah,
I don't know.
Going by Dave's word on that one.
Maybe I don't know. All right. So the next match is Alfred's wife, which is Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's title. Which I don't know why they just haven't switched titles yet. I don't know.
That's exactly what I'm about to say. I was just about to say that.
But Alfred, go ahead and talk about your wife.
Keep the titles they have.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Bianca versus Asuka, with Asuka now officially heel.
On paper, this match should be must-see TV, but I don't. Even though I love Bianca Belair and I like Asuka as well as a wrestler, I don't see it. Doesn't give me that must-see TV feel when they're feuding. For some reason, like I said, I don't. Like I said, I don't see like the must-see feelness of this match. I can see Asuka actually beating Bianca because, like I said a few times, it's time for her to turn heel. It's time for this change and everything. I mean, her persona and her what she stands for.
Yeah,
is like heel worthy.
You can kind of feel it whenever she's out there doing promo work and stuff. You can kind of feel the fans starting to lose.
Right, yeah, and I mentioned that I think last show or the show before that the fans starting to get kind of tired of her. You can tell when she comes out, she doesn't get the reaction like she used to. So obviously the fans know a change needs to happen. But as far as picking a winner, like I said, I can see Asuka winning, but I got Bianca Belair winning. But I don't want to see the feud go all the way to SummerSlam between these two ladies. I just wanted probably to end at the latest at Money in the Bank. But I got Bianca Belair winning.
Vogel.
I am switching the title. It's going to be the one that Asuka makes what she had, the blue mist last time that she sprayed in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just a fan of Asuka. I love the work. I love her work. But I want to see her be more heelish. Like I still feel
evil Asuka. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like if she's going to be evil, then let's see it tomorrow on the pay-per-view and go from there.
All right, Dan.
Nobody is ready for Asuka except for Bianca Belair.
Oh,
I think that it's a disservice for her to A, lose the title, and B, turn heel. I understand the idea of her turning heel, but due to her outreach outside of the WWE, like she's a great ambassador for that company, that turning her heel might be a disservice, or it could help. I think it's a disservice if she turns heel, but I also know how great of a heel she can be if she turns it up to an 11. I graded this match at WrestleMania an A. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was one of the best things on the show. I expect nothing but the same this time out. Maybe they'll outdo each other. I still see Bianca Belair coming out the winner by the skin of her teeth, just because Asuka will probably land the mist. She'll probably do some more heelish work. I want to see more aggressive side of Asuka, maybe more an aggressive side of Bianca Belair, which will indicate a heel turn down the line. But I see Bianca winning and retaining her belt.
Yeah, no, I do want to see a Bianca heel turn. I want to see a Street Profits split with Bianca and Montez being like that power heel couple. I think that's money printing right there. Bianca retains. This match is going to be outstanding. The moves are going to be outstanding. And if, in fact, Asuka wins, give me Asuka, give me Io Sky, those two going at it.
Yes.
I love Asuka and Io Sky rivalry. Hell the fuck yes. Give me that all day. All right, so now let's talk about the other women's championship match, which is Rhea Ripley versus Natalya, which everyone here knows is going to take 10 minutes. Okay? Rhea Ripley, this is just a filler for them to find somebody to fight Rhea. I'm going first. To fight Rhea. Natalya, number one, she botches every single time she's in the ring. I mean, her botches are clear as night and day. She's worse as bad as Ronda Rousey botching. So Rhea Ripley is gonna retain. She's gonna destroy her. And call me crazy, Rhea Ripley is waiting for, I believe, I'm trying to see who on Raw could challenge her next. That would be an outstanding. Fuck, I don't know. That's the thing is, maybe
who are the women on Raw that aren't hurt?
That's true.
That's on Raw.
There we go. Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez.
Right.
I love Raquel. I'm a big Raquel fan. Vogel, what are your thoughts on this match?
Pretty much the same thing you said. I am not a fan of Natalya. I don't. I mean, I know that she's part of the Heart Dungeon and all that stuff. Like you said, like I don't like any of the promos that she does. I'm just not a fan of hers. I wish I were, but I agree. I don't think it's going to be much of a match. It under 10 minutes, in my opinion. It'd be a good way for Ronda to build her character more by squashing her.
Oh, okay. Dan?
Yeah. I think Ronda, my fault. I meant Rhea. My fault.
Yeah.
I would agree with you that Rhea is going to win. I do think that Natalya is an underappreciated wrestler and a little bit underrated.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I think she actually has the skills in the ring. It's just the idea that she doesn't get to showcase it as often. So when she does, people have a warped perception of her. Not saying you guys, but there is a warped perception about her that gives it a negative feeling because of how little she does compete in the sense. Yes, there's no story really here, but the match I think can be pretty well done due to their submission styles. I think that as a ring general, I think that Natalya does have the skills to go toe-to-toe with Rhea. Sadly for Natalya, it will not end well. But I think it could be 10, 13 minutes. That's not the worst thing, all things considered. As far as another opponent for Rhea down the line, you do have Raquel, but you also have Zoe Stark. I'm not saying that's going to be a great rivalry, but you have her as her next big opponent because you have a couple months until SummerSlam. You might as well have someone new on the roster take on Rhea. That's an interesting matchup. Zoe was actually impressed me a lot in NXT, but I think that Natalya, I'm going to give her flowers. I think that she deserves some flowers. Not many people do, as we can tell, but I think that she does deserve her flowers. But I do not see her winning this match at all. Make it a nice competitive matchup, at least.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm with Dan. I'm with Dan on that one. I think Natalya, although she's not perfect, she's pretty underrated to me as far as like women's wrestlers. I think she paid her dues and things like that, and she obviously has experience with her family lineage and how many years she's been in WWE. What Dan was saying earlier, I definitely agree with. She hasn't really had a chance to really showcase that as much as we would like. I mean, it's a flip side. I can see people saying like they're not fans of her, and I can see other people saying that she's underrated. It's just either or to me, but I personally think like she's underrated. Now, as far as this match goes, is it just me or has since Rhea Ripley won the title, her title reign has been kind of underwhelming? Reason why I say that because I think WWE hasn't done a good job in the last few months booking like her title, like her reign and everything. especially like say for example at the Saudi Arabia with Zelina Vega. No disrespect to Vega, but it was more so. It wasn't even that match wasn't even to showcase Rhea Ripley. It was more so of Zelina Vega being in Puerto Rico and dedicating the match to her father, like her late father.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah.
I think in that instance, like Rhea Ripley kind of was like the afterthought of that match, in my opinion. She won the match. She was kind of the afterthought. And I think, like I said, since she's won the title, it hasn't been like impressive. Her reigns hasn't been impressive. And it's the same instance this Saturday is like with Natalya. Obviously I got Rhea Ripley retaining the title, but I want to see her like I want to see WWE make her reign even more like better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think they focus too much of her story on the Judgment Day. I think they're focusing her reign not so much on her, but her as the leader of the Judgment Day. Because if you look at Judgment Day posters, it's Rhea as basically the face of it, and Finn, Damian, and Dominic underneath.
Yeah.
So it used to be Finn as the leader. Now Rhea is the sole leader of Judgment Day. So I think that's why they need to focus more on Rhea as champion, more as Rhea as Judgment Day leader.
Well, when you look at it, her lead up, her build up to the women's title match at WrestleMania, she was mainly focusing on the Ray Dom feud. Yeah. So that took it away a little bit from her as well. So when she won the title, it was great. But before then, you were like, oh, where is her feud with women's title going? Because you're not seeing all that.
Yeah.
But now that you have her as a champion, you have to think where are the challengers for her. It's like with Bianca, who are the next challenges for her?
Yeah.
And I think that they're just building her up as the biggest monster in the world with Judgment Day, which she is. Mm-hmm. So rightfully so. It just happens to be these pay-per-views that have been coming up with her feuds are themed shows in different countries or in different areas where the story of her being champion is there, but it's also being put aside to the other person involved. Mm-hmm. But I think here, following this event, you could see definitely a change of pace. Maybe by SummerSlam, we'll see how different her reign will be.
Yeah. All right. So our next match is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who I'm surprised is fighting here. I guess they put all religious and political views aside, versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa for the undisputed tag team titles. Now, Vogel, we had mentioned the Bloodline storyline, and by far, I think the Bloodline storyline is the top storyline that I have ever seen since I have been watching wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just one story after another, and now it's a feud within the Bloodline, which I've got thoughts about.
I do too. I do too.
Okay. So I had a feeling this is what you wanted to talk about. So I'm going to start with you.
Yeah. Well, the whole Bloodline situation, I watched some of the show last week, and I agree with what Josh Kimmel was saying as far as like inside the Bloodline and there being the internal story that originally started all this with Jay and Roman. And I don't know. I'm not saying that he'll beat Roman for the titles, but I think I definitely feel like that, that could happen, especially now that Sammy's out of that title picture. You could definitely see that being kind of the payoff of the whole bloodline feud. So I feel like somehow Jimmy and Jay get involved, and whether it's on purpose or accident or whatever, whether it's they knock out Solo or Roman or whoever, I just think that Roman or Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens retain. I do think that there's Jimmy and Jay are involved sometimes too.
Yeah,
and they've done like. I know Jay's quick to break in some of these situations, especially the ones when Sammy was in the Bloodline and stuff, and he was just, I don't know how they keep a straight face, but I definitely feel like his facials and stuff, like he was all sold like he and Jimmy were going to get the titles, and then Paul says, and it's going to be Solo Sikoa, and
Yeah.
And then like the faces and stuff. So he's definitely earned some of that. I just don't know, or could they do a thing where he's the one fighting Roman, and the way he wins the title is by Jimmy, switching places and Jimmy rolls him up or whatever type of thing, like the Bellas used to do. You can kind of see that too. So is the Bloodline feud thing is kind of the top of my bill right now that I'm just because it's the one that's been the longest and
Absolutely
kind of dominated all the headlines. So that's what I'm interested.
So Alfred hates the fact that I say that Jimmy's gonna take or that Jay's gonna take the titles from Roman, because he's like it should have been Cody. I still say it to this day at WrestleMania. It should have been Cody. And of course they want to give Roman his 1,000-day reign, but I am telling you, the perfect way to end Roman's reign as champion is to have his own damn brother and cousin take the damn titles from him. I mean, you talk about going, what the hell was your mouth going? Did that actually happen? Yes, it did. Alfred.
That would be one of those Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker WrestleMania moments where
yes.
Like, oh my God, that just happened.
Oh Lord.
So Alfred, give your thoughts on this match.
Oh, I can honestly, I can see several directions this match can go. I think we all for certain. I know for sure Roman definitely won't be pinned in this match, so we can eliminate that possibility. As far as a DQ finish, it'll be kind of crazy to have Roman fly all the way to Saudi Arabia just to have a DQ finish. Like, if you really think about it, for some reason and everything. Now, as far as like I said, who's gonna win? Logically, WWE, technically they don't really have it where like one person have a whole bunch of titles at once.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they don't want Roman Reigns. They probably not gonna want Roman Reigns looking like Ultimo Dragon or something like that, having all the titles at once or something. So I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens is gonna retain the titles. But like I said, the finish, like I said, it could be so many different ways this goes.
Yeah.
If I had to make
like
a prediction
3 or
on
4
how
different scenarios flying around in my head.
Right. Which that's why I'm looking forward to the match to see how it's actually going to turn out. If I had to guess, Usos definitely is going to get involved in the match somehow. Not sure if they made the trip or not, but if they made the trip, they definitely going to get involved.
I think they did. I think they did make the trip, and I think they're going to super kick Solo, and Solo's going to get pinned.
Yeah, that's
my prediction.
I was just gonna say I think they're gonna get involved in the match, and Solo's definitely gonna get pinned somehow, and like you said, Usos coming out basically gonna interfere in the match and cost Roman and Solo the match. So that's my prediction of how it's gonna go.
Dan?
I will have to argue and say that the best story going on in pro wrestling right now is the Elite in AEW. Their whole story that's been going on for 4 years. So I have to say, sorry to that. I do like the Bloodline story. It's the best thing going on in WWE.
Yeah,
in pro wrestling, the Elite's program. However, we're talking about WWE right now.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea that Roman Reigns is involving himself in the mess that the Usos got the Bloodline in. Because the Usos lost at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, the cracks are showing in the shield of the Bloodline. Mm-hmm. Another shield reference, so another crack in the shield for Roman Reigns. Ooh. Mm-hmm. This can go one of many ways. And it's interesting just to point out that you could have Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa win and then them facing the Usos. But the story isn't Jimmy. It's always been Jay. And Jay Uso is the man, I'm agreeing, should be the one to take down Roman Reigns. Now, the problem was it should have been either Drew or it should have been either Sammy, not Cody. And later on, it could have been Cody, but realistically, Sammy. But at the end of the day, it's never about either of those guys. It's about Jay and Roman. So what do you do? Do you have the Bloodline win the tag titles? I would say no. I think the story is that the Usos get themselves involved even though we're told not to. You have Jay accidentally super kick Roman. Roman gets pinned after they throw the Usos out of the ring, or Jay just like is like, eh. And Roman gets pinned because I think you're presenting Solo as the next big thing in WWE.
Yeah.
You have Roman win. Your next few months of programming is with Jay, or they go another route and then wait for the Jay.
I think it's a perfect time.
Route for there. I
think it's the perfect time for Roman to take a pinfall because his titles aren't on the line. So if he,
I just got goosebumps.
He gets screwed out of the, he gets super kicked or whatever, gets taken out and gets pinned, and then with Sammy saying that he just wants to end Roman, and if Sammy were if Sammy were the one to pin Roman after an interference, I could see going down that way too. So a lot of interesting spins there.
So we're all agreeing that KO and Sammy will win, but there's going to be some shit that happens with the Uso.
I think I'm with it. Yeah.
All right then. So do y'all think the Cody Brock Lesnar match is the main event, or Styles Rollins is the main event?
I think Cody and Brock is the main event.
That'd be stupid.
Because if they, I know, which is true. Because they put Cody and Brock after the Bad Bunny and Puerto Rico
mistake.
So I'm pretty sure they'll definitely put them after Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. That's something WWE would probably do, which I don't agree with. Like you said, I don't agree with it.
There's 3 main events, guys. There's 3 main events.
Yeah,
it's true.
You're right.
I think if you're trying to build the new,
like
title,
if I had to guess, I think that's going to be the main event, folks.
I think the new title has to be the main event.
Yes,
in my opinion. Like if you're building that or something, it has to go on last.
Yeah,
I even go further and say the tag team title match should go on last before Cody and Brock. If I'm being,
I think what you have Cody Brock tag titles, World Heavyweight Championship match. I think that's the route you go.
You do something completely opposite.
Well, yeah, because Vince McMahon's going, I need to do this and that. Shut the fuck up, Vince. So Cody Brock Lesnar. Now, Kimmel had some very strong opinions about this feud last week because I agree with him that there is no storyline. The storyline is Brock turns on him the night after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then they beat the living hell out of each other where Brock just basically breaks Cody's arm every single time. Cody accidentally busts Brock open at Backlash. I mean, fucking bust him open.
Yeah, he did.
Which was not fake. That was real blood.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to start with Dan. Yeah. Dan, what are your thoughts on Cody versus Brock 2?
I expressed it earlier today. It did nothing for me the last time. They didn't have any reason for me to care the first match. I think it was just a little bit rushed initially. I don't know if it was because of the blood or just because they ran out of time or it just was the result they were looking for. It should not have main evented. I agree with you on that. But in this show, they're going to have to go a little bit extra. Lesnar is going to probably hit a few more suplexes, maybe like 10 more. That's going to be it. I can see Cody winning again. I don't know why. It's just because you have Lesnar as supposedly the heel in this situation, but why? Yeah. But also he's going to get too ahead of himself and Cody can do another roll-up. I think that it's more about Cody surviving. And if you're building him up as the next big thing, you're going to make him not a Super Cena-like, but you're going to have to make him the guy to have momentum leading into, say, Money in the Bank or anything like that. I still think the Lesnar feud goes until SummerSlam at least. You have Lesnar disappear for a little bit, come back Money in the Bank, interrupt Cody, and then do SummerSlam. I don't know why they would continue the feud or why you would have Cody lose in this match. I just think that either he wins or Lesnar beats him up so bad he gets a stretcher treatment.
Yeah. Vogel?
So with this match, the way, I fantasy book after all these Raws and stuff, well, with his, supposed broken arm, what better way to beat Brock Lesnar than with a loaded cast that Brock Lesnar put on him? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if he broke his arm and then Cody's just got it loaded with something at some point and knocks him out with it. That's how I could see Cody winning. And I think, there is bigger fish to fry with Cody down the road. So you would, most people would feel, I guess, that, Brock should run away with this, but I don't know. I'm feeling the kingdom
Cody.
and Cody and the
and the royal family.
The royal family. There's more than one royal family.
Exactly. Alfred?
Like I said with the first match when they had, I'm not really feeling the feud, quote unquote feud between the two, and I actually love both men. I just I feel like it was rushed, and the reason that they say the reason why they're feuding was dumb because Lesnar felt like he should have been the one that was had the last match of the night at WrestleMania when Cody and Roman wrestled. I think that's the reason why they gave for a reason why they're fighting, and still don't make sense to me. I think WWE is trying to get a third match out this feud, and Cody isn't 100% healthy coming into this match, so I think Lesnar definitely is gonna get some offense in and damage Cody even more, and I think that it's gonna lead to Brock Lesnar winning on Saturday, and they're gonna have the rubber match at Money in the Bank, and that's gonna settle the quote unquote feud. So I got Lesnar winning.
Yeah, no, I think Cody versus Brock 2 is gonna be better than the first match. I think you'll have more suplexes, like Dan was saying, and I also agree with Alfred the fact that I think Brock is gonna win, and then they'll fight again at Money in the Bank, possibly both of them being in the Money in the Bank match, and then them just deciding to beat the living hell out of each other. And who knows, maybe at Money in the Bank, 2 new superstars arise and takes their place. But I think Brock wins this weekend, and I hope there's blood again because I was chanting blood, "We want blood" when he started bleeding. Because I love, I mean his car is still there, so I'm taking it. He takes one good shot, and it's going to be busted open again. And I think the reason they had that quick finish was because of the blood. I think once they said oh shit, someone finished the match.
Roll them up.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think Brock wins Saturday. Which brings us to the deserved main event on Saturday night for Saudi Arabia, Saturday afternoon for us, which is AJ Styles versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I'll start with this one off in the fact that Seth freaking Rollins deserves his shot to end a pay-per-view on a high note with a brand new title. Now, here's scenario 1, okay? Scenario 1, Seth wins just outright. Outstanding match between him and AJ. Scenario 2, okay? AJ Styles wins the match, takes the title over to SmackDown, and then you're going to have Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam, and Cody brings the title, the undisputed titles, over to Raw. Okay? That's scenario 2. I don't have a scenario 3. Sorry, Dan. Dan was like, "Wait, 3!" I think what's going to happen is the first one where Seth freaking Rollins is going to win, and my prediction, because I don't know why, I just like reading wrestling stories, is Karrion Kross is going to get involved and disrupt AJ Styles, and they're going to fight.
Oh yeah, because he did have.
Yep.
He did have
I was gonna say that too. Yeah,
that's right.
Karrion Kross is gonna interrupt the match, and there's gonna start a feud there, and so Seth freaking Rollins will be your new World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, Alfred? Go
ahead, Vogel.
I was just gonna say I do like the number 2 scenario because that's, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how Cody gets to SmackDown to get the titles if they're not doing the brand split, they're not cross promoting people thing.
Money in the Bank.
That would make that would be a way to get it back around. But I just don't know how you promote this thing as a Raw title and then have someone from SmackDown win it. So I think Rollins leaves. I think Rollins leaves as the new champ.
The new champion. All right, Alfred.
Oh, I'm like I said, I'm a huge AJ Styles fan, but the minute they announced who the tournament competitors were, um, first thought was Seth Rollins is going to win the tournament and win the title.
Mhm.
I was honestly shocked that AJ Styles even won the triple threat match. I thought Edge was going to actually win and have him and Seth Rollins wrestle, but obviously that didn't happen. But I got Seth Rollins winning. I'm not sure if y'all saw where it was in the New York Post. Um, I did a little bit of research, so it was in the New York Post. AJ Styles, he basically called the championship like secondary. So I'm pretty sure WWE do not like didn't
Yeah.
probably like they comment. So it definitely didn't help his cause
Yeah.
potentially winning this match. I'm not sure it would have made a difference anyway, but I got Seth Rollins winning the match. The first scenario, I think they're gonna put on a hell of a match, and it's gonna be probably match of the night. And Seth Rollins gonna win.
All right, Dan, take us home.
Is going to become your
You're a little choppy. A little choppy. A little choppy.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Very
Headphones.
You hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, folks.
Hey.
Seth Rollins deserves a crowning moment, especially in Saudi Arabia. He's had terrible luck in Saudi Arabia. If you look back at I think it was a Bray Wyatt feud he was in, a few others. I think that Rollins deserves a win. AJ does too, but he's been a workhorse this entire time, this entire run, as the guy you want to punch in the face, as a commenter said below. But I think that if you remember Rollins versus Finn Balor, SummerSlam 2006, new moves were being done in that match that made it very exciting. I think that you could see the corkscrew return again for Styles, maybe even a few moves from Rollins that we haven't seen in a long period of time. I think there's going to be no interference. I do think that Rollins is going to win clean. If Cross gets involved, fine, but I do think that Rollins is going to finally get his crowning moment. May not be the main event, but he will get his crowning moment that he so rightfully deserves. I'd be fine with a Styles win, but Rollins should take home the gold.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100% agree. And I mean, we've got a lot of crazy things that are going to happen Saturday. Like I said, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for that match, and I'm excited for the tag team match, and that's probably about it. The other matches, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But the tag team matches and the World Heavyweight Championship matches, I'm very, very excited to see what's going to happen there. So, guys, any last thoughts before we close out?
Don't forget to watch
the show.
I appreciate you having me
don't be
on.
trying to watch the show at 6:00 at night. The show is at noon Central Time. So,
all right, Alfred, go ahead, plug yourself first.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. You can find me on Twitter, 8_Matthew713. If you want to see me troll a lot, that's the Twitter account to follow. And you want to be entertained, then definitely follow me.
Vogel?
So at Finn's Fan 72, part of Finn's Sports Network podcast crew. The bandwagon is where you can find me. I think we're going to jump back on after next week. My son's finishes up baseball, so I'll be be free. But my boy Evan and I will be talking Dolphins talk. So
nice. And I know Vogel and I basically spent the whole NFL draft on this show together. So Vogel and I were just like, all right, we're both watching till the end.
Yeah, that's right. 3 days later. 3 days later.
Yeah. Dan?
You can follow me at Dan, YANOFSKY. I will be covering Night of Champions for The Sporting News. You can follow The Sporting News at SN_fights. That's the account that will be covering Night of Champions as well as AEW Double or Nothing the next night. Thank you guys for having me on. And as I said at the beginning of the day, The champ is here.
Oh, Lord.
Guys, I cannot thank y'all enough so much.
Yeah.
Y'all can follow me at AlexBB29, but more importantly, follow our podcast page at capital N, capital H, capital B to that Bard podcast. So capital NH Bard podcast. Now, I think, if I am not mistaken, and we have talked to Bobby about this, but Josh Kimmel, Alfred, I don't know if you're gonna want to do this on Sunday. We are doing a live react to AEW's Double or Nothing, which for them, that's their WrestleMania. So on Sunday, we will be doing a live react to the pay-per-view while it is going on. So hopefully that'll happen. That's going to be
jump on.
There you go. Come on. Anybody can come on. Just to see what amazing show that's going to be. I cannot wait to see that. So don't forget to like, subscribe to FinTalk Sports Network. Follow all of us. Amazing, amazing content. So with that, I hope everyone enjoys Night of Champions. Gentlemen, thank you again for coming. See you guys next week, baby. Night of Champions. Peace.
Yes, sir.